So my first team will come as no surprise to you, I think, Mort. The Brooklyn Nets, I think, are the number one team to watch coming into the second half of the season. They added Blake Griffin on Monday. What do you think of the Blake Griffin addition? Because I've been surprised by the reaction to it.
So I think it's gonna be fine. Like I think Woj reported that they're going to use him as a small ball center off the bench.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like that. That's fine. I don't think he's the Blake Griffin of old. I've been pretty surprised at the amount of people who are like, oh my God, what a star team they now have. Like, no, they had the star team before. Blake Griffin, in the year 2021 is not Blake Griffin of 2012 or whenever he was a beast. He is a vastly different player. What I will say is he's got some fundamentals to his game that are very beneficial to, or should be very beneficial to the Brooklyn Nets. He can pass the ball. He can shoot the ball. He's actually a pretty good ball handler for someone his size. So you can even have him initiate the plays and dribble the ball up the court for the second unit. Like there is some flexibility offensively there for him, but he's not like a superb athlete anymore, nor is he projected to be a great defender. Like he was actually like his trajectory was upwards when he was a little bit younger defensively. Like he got better year in year and out, and then the injuries hit and you could just see he didn't really have the movement anymore. So I don't think he's going to be an asset defensively, but off the bench from an offensive perspective, I could see it. I could absolutely see it. Come in, get some boards, get a couple threes. I was about to say get a dunk, but apparently he can't do that anymore.
Did you see the practice video? He still can. He just hasn't in an NBA game for a while.
I have not. Admittedly, I have not. But I probably should, because then I'll go batshit like everyone else. Because oh my God, Blake Griffin dunked.
Right. Well, he is still capable of dunking. He is physically capable. I can't believe a 6'10" guy could still dunk a basketball. But
it's a good joke. When was the last time he dunked? That was last season, right?
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, no, it's just a joke. I don't think anyone should take that seriously at all. Obviously, he can still dunk, but I do think it's fair to say that he's not the same athlete that he used to be. I mean, I think that's pretty obvious as well if you watch him play.
Yeah, I mean, I think the overall sentiment seems to be like, how is this guy going to help at all? And I'm surprised by that, because it's not like they're going to play Blake Griffin 35 minutes a night or ask him to be the number one option on this team. He's playing next to James Harden, Kevin Durant, and Kyrie Irving. At best, he's going to be the number 4. And when you've got Joe Harris there are just so many other guys drawing attention away from him that they're going to ask him to play like a Chris Humphries role, except he's Blake Griffin. He's still a very talented player despite his physical limitations. So putting him in a role where he plays 10 or 15 minutes a game off the bench and probably plays with James Harden in those minutes, I think he's going to be impactful. No, he's not going to be great defensively, but they don't care about that. They just want to be passable defensively, average defensively. That is okay. They have no aspirations of being a top 5 defensive team. They know their team is built on offense. Blake Griffin can still score the ball. Adding that to the mix with all of these other super elite isolation scorers, I don't know, man. I don't see this hurting them to the extent that like the Twitter reaction just seemed to be like, who cares? This does nothing for them. Like it might, maybe, but I think it's probably going to help them a little bit in certain matchups. And if it doesn't, fine, they won't play him. Like he signed a 1-year minimum deal. It's like they have no obligation to play him heavy minutes. If he's getting his pants beaten off in a certain playoff series, cool. Take a seat and save it up for the next series.
Yeah. No, I agree. I'll throw a different name out there though, because you made the Chris Humphries comparison, which was I see what you did there. Thaddeus Young.
Yeah.
Like, because Griffin, from a passing perspective, is a really good passer.
Yep.
Granted, he won't be the same defender, I don't think, but he's still a wide body who offensively can score near the basket. I have to assume. I'm really not taking into account his current stats from this year. Granted, I just think he was mentally checked out. but he can make the passes. He can be a rebounder. So I think he's a guy who can come in off the bench and provide you with some all-around game, which I think they would need from the secondary position because they seem to be very top-heavy.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I mean, the number one reason I'm excited to watch this team in the second half of the season is because we haven't seen them at full strength that often. Kevin Durant, James Harden, Kyrie Irving have played 7 games together through the first half of the year. So as good as the Nets have been, like they won 10 of 11 coming into the All-Star break. They are only a half game behind the Sixers for the number 1 seed in the East. I think they're going to take that pretty easily and run away with it. We still don't really have a good sense of how good this team can be. And I'm excited to find out.
Yeah, I know you are.
I'm horrified to find out. But I mean, I also think it's going to influence a lot of what these other contenders do at the deadline. Like, I think a lot of these teams have to ask themselves, for the Sixers, like, okay, if we go add Bjelica and George Hill, does that change the calculus on a Nets-Sixers playoff series? Or do we need to go take a swing on a guy like Kyle Lowry? Right. So, I think it's the Nets loading up, getting Griffin for the minimum when they still have, I believe they have the disabled player exception from Dinwiddie. I think they still have part of their taxpayer mid-level. Drummond, if he gets bought out, sounds like he's between the Lakers and the Nets as well. So I don't think this is the full finalized version of the Nets. It seems like they're going to, both them and the Lakers are going to continue cleaning up on the buyout market. But this Nets team is getting progressively scarier by the minute.
Yeah, I mean, it's offensively, I agree.
Yeah. Yeah. Fair enough.